But I take life seriously. You know, the serious job of being happy.
But the only thing that stirs me a little bit is that a lot of people are jeering, aren't they, and making fun.
But
Now,
they do. If anybody takes a stand,
not taking you seriously.
But that is good. That's part of our policy. Is not to be taken seriously, because I think our opposition, whoever they may be, in all their manifest forms, don't know how to handle humour. You know, and we are humorists. We are what are they? Laurel and Hardy. That's John and Yoko. And we stand a better chance under that guise, because all the serious people like Martin Luther King and Kennedy and Gandhi got shot.
Yes, that's a very interesting point. So you don't mind being the court jesters, John?
No, we're willing to be the world's clowns.
John, on one broadcast to France, you said that you were God. Were you serious about that? Do you really feel you are God?
We're all God, you know. I mean, Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within you. And that's what it means, you know. And the Indians say that, and the Zen people say that. It's a basic thing of religion. We're all God. I'm not a God or the God, not the God. But we are all God, and we're all potentially divine and potentially evil. We all have everything within us. And the kingdom of heaven is nigh and within us, you know. And if you look hard enough, you see it.
You then believe in life after death?
I do. Without any doubt, I believe in it. You know.
Have you had any special experiences that make you believe so convincingly?
In meditation, on drugs, on diets, I've been aware of the soul and been aware of the power. Somebody asked a witch on TV, "Are you a black witch or a white witch?" And she said, "There's no such thing. There is a power which people tap, and they use it for whatever ends they use it. And God is a power which we're all capable of tapping. We're all light bulbs that can tap the electricity. You can use electricity to kill people or to light the room, you know. And God is that, neither one nor the other, but everything. And we use him to our best ability. And it's no good blaming God for war, because you can use the H-bomb for cheap power throughout the world, or you can use it for a bomb, you know, the H-power, whatever it is, atomic power. And that's, God is that.
What does life mean to you, John? Would it matter to you if it finished tomorrow, or do you want to live to an old age?
I'd like to live to ripe old age with Yoko only, you know. And I'm not afraid of dying. I don't know how I'd feel at the moment, but I'm prepared for death because I don't believe in it. I think it's just getting out of one car and getting into another.
Do you ever go to church?
No, I don't need to go to church, because I respect churches because of the sacredness that's been put on them over the years by people who do believe. I think a lot of bad things have happened in the name of the church, in the name of Christ, and therefore I shy away from church. And as Donovan once said, I go to my own church in my own temple once a day, you know. And I think people who need a church should go, and the others who know the church is in your own head should visit that temple, because that's where the source is.
You have got this image of wanting to go back and perform again, John. People think you want to go back and play the guitar again and perform? Would you like to see the Beatles?
I'd think about it, yeah.
Like
performing as a Beatle is a harder problem than performing as John Lennon and Yoko or the Plastic Ono Band, because you don't have that big aura around you. Whatever happens, we're going to get knocked. They're going to say it wasn't as good as, it's not. Whatever happens, we have such a thing to live up to, but to do a live performance as the Beatles takes a lot of consideration, So I'd think about it.
Why don't you have an imaginary event, because the imagination probably
it's so hard
exceeds all events.
But is it completely out of the question?
No, it's not out of the question. It's just a big responsibility, There's such a mystique about the Beatles that they'll be expecting God to perform, And we're not.
Better to keep the mystique.
It could be, Maybe Elvis did the best thing, was wait a long time. Then they're that pleased to see you on. They don't care what you do.
What would you like to see happen for the Beatles in the future, John?
I'd like them to see them get the money they've earned, which they haven't had yet. But our good friend Mr. Klein will see to that. And for them to be happy, to do whatever they want to do. Because whatever happens to the Beatles, so-called, we'll always be sort of friends, So all I want for the Beatles is their individual happiness, and whether that's in a collective form or not remains to be seen.
A lot of people have said, how the image of the Beatles is so different to the way you look and the way you dress and everything. Obviously, this is one way of growing up.
Yes.
But they find it, I think, perhaps odd that so much has happened to you, in the way you project yourselves and the way you do look, long hair and so different to how you used to be.
But what
are you unhappy about
When
this?
the Beatles first came out, we didn't look like anybody else. When our long hair then was considered long, our manager then, Brian, we always had it trimmed quite short. He and Paul used to always be at me to cut my hair, and because but we were considered long hair then, and so we're only considered as much freaky now as we were then. We're just longer hair than every you've got a Beatle haircut that we had in 1960. Most TV announcers have got it. Most bank clerks have got a short-haired Beatle haircut, but 5 years ago it was considered outrageous. Now it isn't. Now our length of hair is considered outrageous. We're only relatively the same. It's just people.
It started to grow earlier.
Yes, I mean, people said exactly the same about us then.
So people shouldn't be deceived by the freaky
It's like
look,
you don't judge
they?
a book by the cover,
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. You can't judge people by their appearance. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I have a hard time being not prejudiced against very short-haired accountants and that, and thinking that or businessmen that they can't possibly be human because they haven't got long hair and fight for peace. Some of my best friends are short-haired. It's like that. Would I let my daughter marry a short-haired man? I would. Yes.
Are you, in fact, going your own way with Yoko these days? Because that is the impression one has.
Well, each
Doing
Beatle's
your own thing.
doing his own thing at the moment, and it's like it could be a rebirth or a death, and we'll see what it is, but it'll probably be a rebirth, for all of us.
When do you, in fact, plan to record with the Beatles again?
At the moment, there is no plan whatsoever, and maybe if one of us starts it off, the others will all come round and make an album, It's just like that at the moment. To open the Beatles up,
It's the first time this situation has ever arisen, isn't it?
Well, let's say before Sgt. Pepper there was 9 months of nothing. So in between our albums now, there's a lot of stuff going on. That's all. There might be 9 months or a year before we decide that we're interested enough to produce that thing called the Beatles album. But there was 9 months before Sgt. Pepper, and it's only been since September since we worked together.
Yes. Do you care about making another one?
Yeah, I think Beatles is a good communication media, and I wouldn't destroy it out of hand or dissolve it out of hand, So that's what I think about Beatles.
The main reason I asked you that, John, is because there have been so many rumours going around about, the Beatles having had rows and there being friction, that you're not talking to Paul and Paul's not talking to you.
Well, I wrote him.
The end of the Beatles.
I wrote all the Beatles about 20 postcards from Denmark to keep in touch with them. I didn't talk I think I talked to George on the phone only about some business or something. But I was on holiday. I just sent them love, through postcards, and we communicate like that, when we're not actually physically together.